I think he's going to be great. You know, he brings a lot of knowledge, played a lot of football. I think the places he's going to help us the most is probably in the passing game. Probably some of those things I would think we did with David Johnson in the past back in Arizona, so I could see him fitting in that way. He's a great ball carrier, so I'm excited.
Coach, to say Tristan Wirfs exceeded expectations last year is the biggest understatement in the world.
Great coaching.
Obviously, he set the bar so high for himself. What can he do to improve this year?
Just get better. Just work hard every day like he does. The thing about Tristan is he loves football. You know, he gave up there a sack early in that one preseason game. He did get a couple, gave up that sack, just kind of oversetting the guy. But that gives me something to harp on him about, you know, moving forward. But I expect him to be even better. I thought he was an all-pro player last year, and hopefully he can make it this year. But I'm excited to see where he grows, what he grows into.
You've been part of two Super Bowl championship staffs. Until you experience it, like, is it possible for these guys to really grasp what it's like to go from hunting to suddenly being the hunted to playing on Thursday night, the first game in the NFL regular season, and all that just comes with being defending Super Bowl champions?
Yeah, it's hard not to have a hangover, but BA's doing a great job of making sure they don't. The thing about that I didn't like, going back to the first preseason game, we had all those banners around the inside of the stadium. I'm so glad they got them out, and I'd like to get them off the fences here, me personally, but we got to let that go. That was last year's team, even though we have a lot of same faces. That's last year's team, and that's the mindset we got to have. We're building for 2021, and that's the mindset we got to have moving forward. We can't even think about last year, but you know, it can be a little bit of a crutch, but we can't use it. We got to move forward and just stay focused on what we're trying to get done this year.
Is it really a hangover thing that can plague teams, or is it the fact that every single week, you're going to be getting your opponent's best? When the Tennessee Titans came here
Yeah.
first day, I mean, they came out guns a-blazing.
Yeah, they're a good football team, so we expected that. But I just think naturally in the National Football League, everybody's gunning for you. But yeah, do we have an extra bullseye on our back? Yes, we do. But we can't worry about that. We got to go out, do what we do, execute at a high level, and get the job done. And just embrace that everybody's trying to get us, but we got to be the hunter.
Coach, normally when you win the Super Bowl, you have a massive coaching change. One guy, how nice is it to come back to a staff where you look around and know everybody and the players know everybody?
It's good. It's fun. You know, unfortunately, we lost Randall L., but hey, he got a full-time job, so good for him. But for us, it's business as usual. Everybody knows what we're doing day in and day out, and we just got to make sure we pay attention to the details, make sure we're coaching these guys the proper way, and get the job done. Hopefully, we can have a lot of success moving forward here.
Coach, any rule changes you're concerned about this year?
No, probably the only thing is for the linemen we already talked about is cutting out on the perimeter. That's probably the biggest thing, is usually on a screen or a toss play, we could go to the ground, try to get people on the ground, but the NFL's nixed that, but we'll be all right.
We've seen Keyshawn trying to make himself versatile and valuable on special teams, but how has he evolved in this last year just as a running back, as a pass catcher?
As a running back, as far as running the ball, he's been great. He needs to elevate his game in the passing game from the catching standpoint, protection standpoint, which he's worked on this camp. So I think the upside is high for him, as long as he continues to focus and do the small things that matter the most. But he can be a good football player. He can add value to this team.
How would you assess the depth in your group last year versus this year? I know you have a lot of injuries this year and everything, but is the depth better, when you have certain guys kind of stepping up into roles?
I think it's a little bit better. I think guys like Nick Leverett stepped up big time. He's the new Earl Watford. He's the guy that's played all 5 positions throughout training camp. I think a guy like Brandon we just got from Pittsburgh, who they put on the waiver wire about a week ago, has some value. So I like our depth. I think it's a whole lot better than last year. Brad Seaton's back. He played well last week, so I'm excited to see what we have at the end of the year as far as who's on the roster, who's not on the roster. But whoever we pick, I think we'll be all right.
Coach, when you have Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and Giovanni Bernard as your 3 main backs, if you will, is that a coach's dream, just to know that you have somebody who brings a little bit different of a skill set to put in whatever situation you need?
Yes, I think it's huge. Every guy brings value to the table. Now, do I want to be the guy that makes the decision who starts that week or whatnot? That's BA's job. But those guys are 3 great backs. So whatever we need, they'll give us all they got. I like them all, personally, to be honest with you. I think Gio brings a different element in the third down package from a screen standpoint, things of that nature. And I think he's a hell of a runner, like I said earlier. But the other 2 are great runners. They could be a little bit better catching the ball at times, as we all know, but they've gotten better throughout camp doing that as well.
You guys have gotten by with fewer offensive linemen on the 53 for a big chunk of last year just by elevating guys off the practice squad.
Yes, sir.
Do you go into final cuts hoping for 9, hoping for 8? How many do you think you get?
I'm greedy. I hope for 9. But that's BA and Jason's decision. But, you know, as long as we got 8, as long as we got 3 quality guys on practice squad, we'd be all right because I think we got a lot of capable guys that can play in this league. But I hope for 9. That's my hope inside.
What have you seen from Leonard Fournette from the time he got here last year, just before the start of the regular season, having to try to adjust to a role he wasn't quite used to? He even told
Yes.
us on multiple occasions, this isn't something I'm used to. I'm used to being the guy. What have you seen out of him in terms of growth and maturation year over year?
Ever since he had that little spell last week where him and BA had their conversation, he's been a different person. He's been focused every day. He doesn't necessarily feel like he has to be the guy, but I'm sure he always thinks that way. He's had a hell of a camp. He's done everything we've asked of him, no pouting, no nothing. So he's been a pleasure, and I like the way he's grown up because at the end of the day, we got so many good players on this team at any position, so you just got to fit in where you can get in, and he's done that.
You said last week or you mean last year?
Last year.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you think there was more of a, I don't know if commitment's the right word, but you ran the ball better the second half of the season?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So was it conscious that, you know, or did you just get better at it?
I think a little bit of both. I think going into the playoffs, we needed to run the ball, especially with all the play actions and stuff we were using to get through the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl victory. So I think it was a conscious decision, not only by BA, but by Byron as well. And I'm sure Tom likes it too. So.
Was any part of that trying to catch teams off guard a little bit because they just, oh, well, look at all these passing weapons they have. Of course they're going to pass the ball. I mean, was that kind of to catch teams off guard in any way?
Not necessarily. I just think we made a conscious effort to run a little bit more. I would think probably early on there, we're probably averaging maybe 20, 21 runs a game. I think in the playoffs, we probably added 8 or 9 more runs a game, and it worked for us. So I just think it was a decision we made as a coaching staff. Byron calling more runs. That's all it was.
Coach, I asked Fournette last year, what's pass blocking? He said a 5-second fist fight. Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, that's probably a little bit too much time in the real world. Probably a 3 to 4 second fight. But it is. It's violent, and it's a lot of contact. And the backs have been doing a great job all camp, so hopefully they can continue to do that when real ball shows up.
And looking ahead to next week, will you treat it as a bye week, or with the Thursday night game, is it a different schedule plan?
No, it's all we're going in it just like a normal week. We get 1 bonus day, I think, and we're getting ready for Dallas. So it's going to be fun.
Do you think Leonard Fournette or Rojo is really either one of them hold themselves ahead in that starting competition for the lead back in the backfield?
Through training camp, I think we could go with either one. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of preseason exposure. I think Saturday night will tell a lot. I think either one that goes in there as a starter will do fine because obviously we can always rotate him, and whoever has a hot hand after that can play the rest of the game. But it'll be interesting to see what happens Saturday night, and hopefully they both have success and make it a hard decision for us coaches.
So you plan on doing basically on matchups, you know, week to week, you know, against certain defenses, certain looks that you're going to be facing. Maybe one will get the nod over the other.
I think that's more of a BA Byron question. Me, I'll take whoever is going to give me 4 yards or more.